Hello, I'm Ayça Türkoğlu,
And I'm Katy, Derbyshire.
and we're going to be reading to you from The Blacksmith's Daughter by Selim Özdoğan,
Which Ayça and I co-translated.
Yes. So The Blacksmith's Daughter is the first in a trilogy, which we're calling the Anatolian Blues trilogy. And the first book tells the story of a young girl, Gül, growing up in 1940s and 1950s rural Turkey, before she ultimately moves to Germany at the end of the book. No spoilers. And so today we're going to read a section where Gül is sitting with her family one winter and is accused of a terrible crime. I will take it away. Every year, once the grapes have been harvested, a portion of the juice is cooked up with starch, dried and cut into strips. These firm little treats, köfter, are eaten over the winter, ideally with walnuts as a source of energy for the cold days. The blacksmith stores his wheat, rice and the winter bread that the community bakes every autumn in the small cellar inside his house, but the walnuts and köfter are kept at the very top of the shelves in the kitchen.
One evening, while Gül is despairing over her homework in the lamplight, her mother is crocheting near the stove, and her grandmother, who has dropped by as she often does, is sitting even closer to the stove and drinking tea, while Timur drinks rakia and smokes. It's the sort of evening that promises another hard winter ahead. Zeliha goes into the kitchen, and when she comes back, she says to Timur, "I was right. There's much less köfter than there was." Gül keeps taking it and giving it to the other children at school. Gül has heard what her grandmother said, but she can't believe it.
Is this true, Gül?
Gül shakes her head.
Özlem saw you giving it out at school, Zeliha says.
Gül hasn't given anyone any köfter, but now she doesn't know what to say. She feels hot and she knows people think you can tell someone's lying if they blush. But she's just hot. "I didn't take anything."
Arzu looks up and fixes her eye on Gül. Özlem saw you do it, Zeliha says. And why are you turning red if you're telling the truth? Timur stubs out his cigarette and says sharply, "Gül, I don't want to hear of such a thing ever again."
Now Gül is completely silent and nods. What else can she do? Her grandmother mutters something that no one understands, shaking her head. Soon after, when Timur goes out to the toilet, Gül follows him and crouches outside the toilet door in the darkness of the yard. It's been a long time since she's done this. It wasn't me, I'll tell him right away, she thinks, but the words won't come.
When her mother puts her to bed later that night, she says, "Gül, you mustn't lie and you mustn't steal. Only bad people do that. We don't do that sort of thing. Do you understand me, Gül?"
Gül nods. What else can she do? She can't sleep and she stews until morning. At school, she goes straight over to Özlem. "Did you say I brought köfter with me to school?"
Yes, Özlem says.
But why? I didn't do it."
Yes, you did. I saw you.
This is the first day Gül doesn't go home at lunchtime. Instead, she sits in a lonely spot by the stream. She feels as if someone's opened a door and an icy wind is blowing in, chilling her to the bone. And she knows she must cross the threshold. She has no choice.
They all lied. She knows the truth, but she can't tell anyone. She's alone. For the first time in her life, she's completely alone. There's no one she can go to, no one who'd believe her. Alone. Once it's come to this, it will never stop, but she doesn't know that yet. Over the next few days, she sits by the stream at lunchtime, unable to think about anything but the köfter. How can Özlem say she saw Gül handing it out at school when she didn't do it? How can she get anyone to believe her?
On the third evening after her grandmother lied, she takes her father's hand and leads him into the kitchen. Surely he's got to believe her. Gül points up at the shelf where the köfter is kept. "How would I get up there?" she asks Timur.
They don't have a table. All they have is the old heavy wooden chair in the other room, which Gül can hardly move. Timur looks up at the shelf, down at his daughter, then up again, furrows his brow for a few moments, then relaxes it again and nods. "I understand," he says. He shakes his head gently. then picks Gül up in his arms, carries her into the warm room, tickles her with his moustache and whispers in her ear, "I know you didn't do it, I know. The others won't believe us, but the two of us, we know my little girl doesn't steal, don't we? And that's the most important thing, that we both know it."
Not only can he not prove that Gül didn't do it, but he also can't accuse his mother of lying.